Hello again, everybody. Welcome back to HemingwayLand.com, your source for quality, affordable land in the state of Hawaii. New property going live on the website today, guys. This one in a subdivision where we've had a lot of success in the past. We have bought, listed, and sold a lot of properties here, and our buyers really respond well to this specific subdivision because of the reasons you see enumerated in the headline here: paved road access, relaxed zoning, ocean views, so on and so forth. But more so, what's not written in the headline, which is that this is one of the least expensive subdivisions within the state of Hawaii. On a price per acre basis, you can buy it fairly reasonable price, number one. And number two, this is a subdivision where the land was chopped up into a lot more generous portions, 1 acre. 1 acre may not sound like a lot, but in Hawaii County and throughout Hawaii, 1 acre is a tough piece of land to buy at a price like this. So we've had a lot of buyers in the past use this as a kind of foot in the door to the Hawaii real estate investment game. Perhaps you, dear viewer, will be the next. That was a cheesy segue, but you get the point. Anyway, guys, let's intro the property. This is reference number HIHI-3655, located in Hawaii County, a.k.a. the Big Island. More specifically, it is in the Kau District, and even more specifically, it is in the Hawaiian Ocean View Estates subdivision. This is a 1 acre piece of land, and as you saw up top, this 1 acre is priced at $6,500. Let's bring it up on a map, show you guys exactly where it is. As with all of our listings, we've got 5 GPS coordinates down here, 4 corner points in the center. Click any one of them, and voila, on Google Maps, the property shall appear. So, for the uninitiated, this is Hawaii. And down here, the Big Island is also known as Hawaii County, and the subject property sits in the southern portion of the island down here. I mentioned the Kau District before. The Kau District is roughly, very roughly, what I am outlining on the map right here. This is the Kau District, and this is where the subject property is. Notably, it is within the Ocean View Estates subdivision, which, if we zoom in enough on the map, you can see is kind of carved out here on the map. This is the entirety of the subdivision. This is a couple thousand acres down here. All of them 1 acre lots. And as you can see, the entirety of the subdivision sits just north of the Hawaii Belt Road, a.k.a. the Mamalahoa Highway, a.k.a. Highway 11. So on this island, we do not drive in a straight line north to south, east to west. When we want to get from one place to another, we take the circuitous route around the island. But the point is that Highway 11 is that route, and you have very easy access to it. Subject property, I believe, is about 4 miles north of that highway. So really not a bad deal. Anyway, from the highway, of course, you can access some of the nearby towns, such as over here, we've got Volcano the town, not Volcano the volcano, though the national park is very close by. Along the way, up the 11 here, you've got Mountain View, you've got Curtistown over here, you've got Kiau right here. Of course, Pahoa is nearby, just over here. Hang on, there we go. But most notably up here, we have the population center of the island. The most dense cluster of people, businesses, homes, commerce, etc. is in Hilo. Of course, up here you'll find the international airport, you'll find the university, the Hilo Municipal Golf Course, some big box stores, and of course many other things. From the subject property out to Hilo is roughly about an hour and a half, hour 45-minute drive time, something like that. But of course, along the way, most anything that you need, you're going to be able to find in any of the aforementioned towns. Should also be noted, of course, that down here at the base of the subdivision, really right along the highway, I'll show you pictures of these in just a second, but down here, really very close to the subject property, you've got markets, you've got stores, you've got post office, bank, etc., and of course a hardware store. If you're going to be building on the subject property, you got an Ace True Value Hardware down here, so easy access to all of those assorted amenities. It should also be noted, guys, that from the subject property, we also have easy access to 3 nearby beaches, such as Miloli, the Papakalea Green Sand Beach down here in the south, right there, and the Punalu'u Black Sand Beach over here along this shoreline. Now, guys, quick thing. So, the property has, quote-unquote, stunning ocean views. I do not want you to think that the property is right on the ocean. It's not. It's here. The beaches are close, but when we say close, you should anticipate it's still roughly about 30 minutes. You hop in the car, you drive down the highway, you park at the thing, you get on the bike, you take it down the trail, so on and so forth. Whatever the exact process is, I just want to paint you guys a picture that roughly you're about 30 minutes from the beach, okay? But, of course, you've got ocean views from the property. Hope I explained that well enough. Anyway, all right, guys, so let's zoom in on the subject property and talk about where specifically this is. There's lots that's up here in the northern part of the subdivision, just off of Tradewind Boulevard. Tradewind, of course, is just north of Island Boulevard and just south of Seaview Drive. If you come back here to our listing page, down here in the gallery, we've got a couple things to help better demonstrate the size, shape, location, general footprint of this property. This is the first one, guys. We do a little Google Earth overlay just to give you a sense of what I just said, the size, shape, location of the property. Additionally, of course, we've also got the plat map. In case you don't believe us, in case you think that we're just making up random geometric shapes on a map, we're not. There you go. That's the subject property. Additionally, guys, if you come back here to Google Maps and you kind of go to map view, you will see, look at that, the rectangular-shaped subject property. It should be noted, guys, that the way that this block breaks down here with these kind of bigger, fatter lots like this, these skinny lots like this, and these more medium-sized lots like this is what the entirety of the subdivision looks like. If you zoom in really on any part of this map, you're going to see that that's how the plat was, created. Okay, that's how they were subdivided. So these are the larger lots within the subdivision, or let's say the more evenly proportioned lots, because they're all 1 acre, but they're just proportioned differently. Anyway, blah blah blah. I do want you guys to just recognize there are some homes nearby, right here, right here, right here, right here, etc. Additionally, if you pull back and you just kind of look at any part of the subdivision, all the dots on the map, all the spots that you see here, if you zoom in on any one of them, you'll see that there are some home sites out here, quite a few actually. It's not a dense concentration of people. Maybe more so as you get down closer to the highway, you'll find more of them. But the point is there are a lot of people living in this subdivision. Now, a couple things, guys. There are a lot of people living in this subdivision for two reasons. Number one, when this subdivision got built up, they did two convenient things. They made sure that the entirety of the region had paved roads, and they made sure there were power lines throughout the entirety of the region. The subject property that we're going to talk about today is one of the rare exceptions to that. This is a small area up here that does not have power running along the highway. It's really one of the first properties we've ever encountered that doesn't have that. I'll show you in the photo gallery in a bit, but a lot of the neighbors up here rely on solar panels to bring power to their home sites. We will discuss that more in just a bit. Whatever the case, guys, down here in the photo gallery, we've got photos from the nearby area as well as, so these are the, what I was talking about earlier, the base of the subdivision down by the highway. It's the gas station, that's the Ace Hardware store, etc., post office, so on and so forth. If you go through the gallery here, you will see all the kind of small town features that are just really right outside the subdivision, really just about 4 miles from the subject property. Additionally, as we go through that, we will also come to the entrance to the subdivision, which is this area right here, Hawaiian Ocean View Estates, speed limit 25, so on and so forth. And from here, you can see it's the Ocean View Community Center and billboard advertising some things. You can see the parks that they've got out here, another park, bar and restaurant over here, church nearby, and more parks, more trails, so on and so forth. The point is it is a bucolic Hawaiian paradise region, at least from what we can see from the photos. Anyway, so once we get to this photo, we're into property-specific photos right here. This, of course, the corner of, as I mentioned earlier, Seaview and Tradewind. And as we go through here, you will see the aforementioned paved roads and the lack of power lines in this specific area. And, of course, from this photo, you can also see the ocean views that are in this region. It should be noted, guys, that the whole subdivision is basically on a hillside. So the further north you go in the subdivision, the higher the elevation of the property. And basically what that ends up meaning is that if anybody builds around you, they're not blocking your views of the ocean. So whatever views you buy today, you will have for the rest of time with this property. Anyway, of course, the property is a combination of some lava rock, some pretty, young vegetation, some minor ohi'a trees are out here. Just so you know, guys, the way that this works, if you're unfamiliar with this, if you're going to build on the property, you get a grubbing and grading permit, you get a bulldozer out there, they flatten the whole lot, and they will turn it into something, of course, that you can live on, like what you see with the neighbors' properties. Of course, the grubbing and grading permit is fairly easy to get out here. You basically can't build in Hawaii unless you get that. And there's actually a cottage industry of people who own bulldozers who will come out and, quote, doze a lot. So that one relatively easy. I'm pausing on this photo. This is one of the neighbors' houses. As you can see, here's some of the solar panels that they're using to power their home site. They are not hooked into the grid, nor are really anybody who's out here. This is another one with some solar panels on the house, etc. Point being, if your neighbors can do it, I'm sure that you can as well. And, of course, this guy seems to rely on some kind of wind power as well. More solar panels up here, etc. This is a water catchment tank. We'll speak about this a little bit later in the video, but there are no water lines in this area. You don't find that a lot in subdivisions because it gets so much rain out here. A lot of people use these water catchment tanks to bring clean drinking water and bathing water to their home sites. But again, more detail on that a little bit later. This, by the way, is one of the neighboring properties after it's been dozed. So this is what it looks like after you bring in the bulldozer, and it kind of flattens out the land and makes it a lot easier to build on, etc. And then, of course, within the gallery, we also have some helpful drone shots down here of the subject property with the property outlines, just to give you a sense of exactly what that lot looks like from this height and what it looks like from start to finish, north, south, east, west, etc. I will let you guys peruse the photos on your own time, but this will give you an excellent sense of the terrain that's out here, etc. Anyway, with all that said, guys, let's talk about this. So Ocean View Estates is the name of the subdivision. Some people hear subdivision, they think that means HOA. In a lot of cases it does. In this particular case, it does not. Now, linked at the top of the page in the property specific notes is a link to the Ocean View Estates community group. We also have it linked down here. Ocean View Community Association. Guys, if you click that link, it will take you to their website. Now, the point of me showing you this is that, number one, there's no HOA. Number two, there are no annual HOA dues. Additionally, there are no covenants and restrictions in this area. So there's going to be essentially no formal structure like an HOA butting in telling you what you can and cannot do. And actually, if you come to their website and you scroll down here a little bit, you will see, reiterating my point, the OVCA is a nonprofit corporation and is not affiliated with any homeowners association or road maintenance corporation, yada, yada, yada. Point being, guys, just want to emphasize that no annual dues to an HOA. Now, they just mentioned Road Maintenance Corporation. So what you'll find with every 1 acre lot in this subdivision is that they have annual taxes of about $200 a year, $100 in February, $100 in August, and there are also road maintenance organizations that service this area, service other subdivisions within the county. They usually charge about $150 per lot. So throughout the course of the year, you're going to pay about $350 total, both to the county as well as to the road maintenance organization. That being said, when you look at how well maintained the roads are in this region, I think it's money well spent. Whatever the case, we have their website. If you do have questions about this, just click this link. You can be taken to this website, the HOVE Road Maintenance website, where if you do have any further questions, you, of course, can reach out to them, contact them, etc. It should be noted, guys, if you scroll through this page, they actually have a lot of information here about what roads they're maintaining next, where they're doing paving, where they're taking care of a pothole, etc. It's a pretty well-updated website. Additionally, you will also find some people rent out bulldozers or whatever specifically this is, but you can actually find listings like this of people who are willing to come out and, quote, doze a lot, as I was talking about earlier. Anyway, this is the contact information for the HOVE Road Maintenance Corp. As noted, you can reach out to them if you have questions, but overall the takeaway here is that it's $150 annually to help maintain the roads within your community. Anyway, with all that said, let's talk a little bit more about the power situation. Down here we have the county contact information for HELCO. HELCO, Hawaii Electric Company, is the entity that hooks up power really throughout most all of this subdivision, this one road being a small exception. Point being, if you do have questions for them, if you do want to kind of debate or figure out the cost of actually getting power extended out to the subject property, I believe, if we go back to the map, I believe the nearest power lines are down here along Trade Winds. So getting extended roughly, I don't know, a half a mile up the road, something like that. Maybe more, maybe about a mile. 1,600 feet, let's say about a half mile. Getting power extended about half a mile up the road, how difficult is that? How expensive is that? How many poles is that? Is that something that you want to mess around with, or should you just go with solar panels? Always good to talk to the local utility company about those things in advance. Anyway, this is the entity that services this region. Additionally, guys, also want to point out, so I was talking about the rainwater catchment tanks before. So as noted, if you're not familiar, out here in Hawaii, they use a lot of these rainwater catchment tanks because it does rain so much that you can actually service an entire home site with this sort of thing and get clean drinking water, clean bathing water, etc. If you come up here, we like to, we have no relationship with these companies, but we at least like to link things like this. So this is Waterworks Hawaii. This is a company that specializes in this sort of thing. They come out, they install these rainwater catchment tanks, these holding tanks on people's properties. And, of course, if your goal is, hey, I'm going to buy this land, I'm going to build down here, what do I need to know about this? Always best to go to the source as opposed to calling our offices. Not to say we don't enjoy speaking with you, but, there are questions we can answer and there are questions that we can't. Whatever the case, these guys can speak with greater expertise about the permitting process, about how many gallons of water you need to have on your property, about exactly how this works, how long it takes to get installed, and they can acquaint you more with the practicalities and logistics of having something like this on your land. Whatever the case, if you do kind of zoom in on the Google Earth view up here, on any one of the houses out here, you're going to find these rainwater catchment tanks really throughout this region, as well as multiple other subdivisions. We've seen this in pretty much every one that we've bought in Hawaii County, etc. Anyway, additionally, guys, one last thing. Just want to point out, we've got a YouTube channel here. It's not our YouTube channel, but these are people who live off-grid in Hawaii. If you do end up buying this property and you're going to go the solar method, or even if your dream, your goal is to move out to Hawaii, grow your own food, things like that, these people actually have a really good channel that's very instructive. I don't think they live in this subdivision, but I think they live pretty close by. And so a lot of what they experience with weather and animals, critters, whatnot, I think what they discuss here will be applicable to the land that you would be purchasing. But they do a lot of good videos about growing your own food, about compost toilets, things like that, etc. So worth checking out, particularly if you do intend to go the solar panel route. By the way, guys, one last thing I want to point out, just to make sure that we're not confusing anyone. We talk about relaxed zoning laws up here in the headline. I want to discuss what that means. What it does not mean is that you can do whatever you want. It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that zoning is non-existent in this area. What it means is that Hawaii County, or Hawaii, I should say, has a more progressive attitude about what kinds of structures get built on the land. They like sustainable green living. They endorse that sort of lifestyle, etc. So you'll find that they're a lot more permissive about it, rather than places in other places in the lower 48 where we buy, such as in New Mexico, where a lot of counties make it prohibitively expensive. Whatever the case, if you do have a goal, hey, I want to put down a shipping container, I want to build a yurt, I want to live out of a yurt, something like that. Anything that's not, quote unquote conventional, anything that's not a single family residence, it's always a good idea to reach out to the county, talk to them in advance, say, here are my plans, I'm looking to buy some land in Ocean View Estates, what do I need to know, what kind of permits do I need, what do those things cost? Always good to have those conversations in advance. But the point is that I think what you'll see, what we've seen quite a bit of in this region, is that there's a kind of anything goes mentality with a lot of structures that get built, a lot of things that are out there. So point being, if you do have a goal of a tiny house or shipping container or a yurt, most likely you will be able to do that out here. Anyway, with all that said, guys, if you are interested in purchasing the property, it begins in a very easy way. Come up here, click the Buy Now button. It will take you to the secure checkout, where we'll ask you a couple questions for the new deed. By the way, guys, just want to point out, this is a non-refundable $500 earnest money deposit. This is our way of making sure that you're serious about buying the property if you put down the $500. The way that this works, we're going to ask you a couple questions for the deed: legal name for deed, marital status, tax address, where's Hawaii County, going to send the eventual tax statement, agree to the terms of service, click next, and on the next page you can enter credit or debit card information to put down that $500. We will close on a property one of two ways. One is through a title company, which generally we find buyers in this price range don't know, don't care, don't want title insurance. So in this price range, we also go a second route, which is called our attorney closing. We have an attorney in Hawaii who drafts all our conveyance documents, aka deeds, for us. Come down here, you can read a little bit about that process, but basically you put down the $500, we're going to request from them a new deed conveying from us to you. We're going to present that to you in an email. Usually it's about 24 hours, but if you buy from us on a Friday, obviously the attorney's not going to get it done until Monday, something like that. But we'll send it to you an email, and once you approve it, we'll ask you for the remainder of the funds. And, of course, once you give us those, we're going to get that deed recorded for you. Toot sweet, within a matter of days. For the record, guys, the deed gets recorded. We will email you a copy just so you can see that, yes, the conveyance has taken place. The hard copy doesn't show up in the mail for a couple weeks, just an FYI. But the point is, we own the land. Once you give us money, as far as we are concerned, you own the land. Go out there, knock yourself out, begin doing whatever you like, building, constructing, plotting, planning, so on and so forth. Anyway, guys, with all that said, if you have any questions, leave a comment here on the YouTube channel or shoot us an email, support@hemingwayland.com. And thanks for watching. We'll see you guys in the next video.